Chapter 1: The accident on a rainy night. The couple's routine was shattered. Daniel had driven home after a long court session, the rain slicking the asphalt into a mirage of reflected lights. Emma, asleep in the passenger seat, was suddenly jolted awake by the thud of impact. The world turned back and then came back into focus with the stark, metallic scent of broken glass. The car lay in a twisted heap by the roadside. Ambulance lights painted a frantic rhythm across the darkened street. Daniel's fingers shook as he tried to steady the breath that escaped his chest. The news that came later was both precise and unforgiving. Daniel had suffered a severe spinal cord injury, leaving him paraplegic. The world, which had once seemed so predictable, now felt like a labyrinth of uncertainty. When the emergency services arrived, Emma held Daniel's hand, feeling his tremor, a cold certainty sinking into her. She stared at the doctor who had spoken a long sentence with the weight of fate. "It will take years. You will have to adapt. It's not about your dreams anymore, it's about survival." Aftermath. The next weeks were a blur. The couple moved into an apartment that seemed too small to contain their dreams. Emma became Daniel's primary caregiver. She managed his medications, his wheelchair, and the endless sea of doctor's appointments. The financial strain was immense. Daniel's law practice was forced into suspension, and Emma took up a part-time position at a local library. In that cramped apartment, where the sound of rain against the windows was a constant companion, Emma and Daniel began a strange dance of interdependence. They negotiated, compromised, and, most importantly, learned to trust each other in a way that the accident had never required. They found comfort in the small rituals: a cup of tea before bed, a shared grocery list, a nightly affirmation of gratitude. Chapter 2: The first whisper of intrigue. The first hint of hidden agendas came from Daniel's sister, Lily. She had moved back to Willowbrook after a decade away in the city, bringing with her a polished, ambitious aura. She was Daniel's closest confidant, but her presence was already unsettling. One evening, while Emma was at the library, Lily came to the apartment with an envelope. "It's from your ex-law partner, Marcus," she whispered, sliding the sealed envelope across the dining table. "I heard about what happened to you, but there's something you should know." Emma, already wary, asked what was inside. Lily's eyes flickered. "It's a letter. It's about your future practice and other things." When Emma opened the envelope, she found a letter, a legal document that seemed to have been drafted just days before the accident. The letter detailed a clause in Daniel's original contract with Marcus that would have left Daniel liable for a large sum if his practice closed. Lily had a clear motive. If Daniel were incapacitated, Marcus could take over the firm entirely. Daniel's future seemed even more precarious. Emma confronted Lily, and Lily's fold cracked. "Just a moment. I know what you're thinking," Lily said. "I was only trying to protect you." Emma felt the sharp sting of betrayal. She had known Lily as a sibling, a partner in many of her life's decisions. But now, the betrayal had become tangible. The intimacy of their marriage was being tested, not just by physical limitations, but also by hidden motives. The family rift deepens at the same time. Daniel's ex-wife, Marlene, appeared in the picture. She had always been a source of conflict, but her role now seemed more calculated. Marlene had been in contact with Daniel's lawyer, and she was pressing for a settlement that would allow her to stay in the family home. When Daniel's injury made him less able to fight for the property, Marlene's leverage increased. Daniel and Emma were forced to make difficult choices. The house they had purchased together became a pawn in an unexpected war. Daniel's lawyer, James, who had once been an old college friend, was now a reluctant ally. The more Emma read the documents, the more she realized how the truth was being twisted, how the family was a complex web of power plays. Chapter 3: Lies unveiled. The next major twist came when Emma found a journal on the back of a box in the attic. The The journal belonged to Danielle's former mentor, a respected lawyer named Thomas. Inside, Thomas had recorded Danielle's thoughts on the practice, the partnership with Marcus, and the family's hidden desires. One entry, dated 2 years before the accident, read, "The partnership feels like a cage. I must choose between the stability it offers or the freedom that the law could grant me. I worrying that my future lies in a place I cannot see." Emma understood now that Daniel had been fighting an internal battle that the accident had only amplified. The journal also contained references to an affair that Daniel had had with a younger partner, Rachel. This revelation shook Emma to her core. She had known Rachel as a colleague, not a lover. Danielle's infidelity added a new layer of pain that the accident had only deepened. The confrontation Emma confronted Daniel, and the conversation was a collision of hurt and relief. Daniel admitted to the affair, but insisted it had ended before the accident. He confessed that he had never told Emma about the clauses in the partnership contract, fearing it would drive a wedge into their already fragile relationship. The revelation did not lead to a breakup. Instead, it forged a raw, new kind of intimacy. Both understood that the cracks were not just physical or emotional, but rooted in secrecy. They made a pact to rebuild trust from the ground up, no longer withhold information, but rather confront the truth together. Chapter for the family's new beginnings. In the aftermath, the family began to heal, one step at a time. Daniel and Emma began therapy, both individually and as a couple. They joined a support group for families affected by spinal cord injuries, where they found other couples navigating similar trials. Danielle's law firm's future remained uncertain, but the couple decided to pursue a different path. Daniel, though unable to practice law, used his knowledge of legal procedures to help others navigate the complexities of disability rights. Emma, who had become an avid reader of legal texts, began to write a blog documenting the intersection of disability, law, and family dynamics. Lily, feeling the consequences of her earlier betrayal, decided to leave Willowbrook for a fresh start in the city. She turned her focus toward counseling, helping others navigate grief and family politics. Marlene, after a legal battle, agreed to sell the house to Emma and Daniel at a fair price. The couple moved into a new home, a modest but warm place with a large garden that became a sanctuary for both. Marcus, the former partner, was disqualified from the practice after a lawsuit revealed that he had orchestrated the events leading to Danielle's injury by tampering with the car's brakes, a dark secret that surfaced only after a whistleblower came forward. Danielle's lawyer, James, testified against him, cementing a vindication that felt bittersweet. A new life. Months later, Emma and Daniel held their daughter's birthday in the garden. The laughter was alive again, echoing the hope that had been lost during the accident. Emma's voice, when she spoke, was steady, a calm that now belonged to a life reclaimed. The house had been replaced with a new one, a place that symbolized their resilience. The new property had a small office that Emma used to write her blog and a quiet corner where Daniel sat, reading the same legal books he had once studied, now with a different purpose. In the evenings, they would watch the sunset over the garden, their silhouettes reflected on the water of the small pond. They whispered promises to each other that were not grand but steady. "I will love you, no matter the shape of our lives." Chapter 5. The final truth. In the last chapter of the story, the couple learns that the true reason behind the accident was not just a random act of fate, but a carefully hidden plan orchestrated by none other than Danielle's own brother, Victor. Victor had felt neglected and overlooked, and in a misguided attempt to prove his worth, he had sabotaged the vehicle that carried Emma and Daniel. The revelation was a final shock, but it also provided closure. The family had to confront this new betrayal. In a quiet, sunlit room, Daniel apologized to Emma, and they forgave each other. The decision to keep the house was made together. ensuring that the house would not remain a symbol of the past. Instead, it became a place for new memories. The moral of the story weaves a tapestry of intrigue, lies, and betrayal, yet it ultimately illustrates the power of love and commitment. After the accident, Emma and Daniel rebuilt their life from the ground up, facing each new challenge together. Their journey proves that even when shadows of deception loom, the light of partnership can guide a family through the darkest of trials.